In today's video, we're diving into a topic that's super important but often overlooked. The worst e-commerce store builders that you can choose in 2024. Yes, you heard that right. Picking the wrong platform can be a disaster for you and your business. Just imagine this. You're excited. You're ready to launch your store. But then you run into issues like slow load times, poor user experience, or worse, your customers can't even check out properly. All that hard work, wasted. But don't worry, I'm here to help you avoid these mistakes. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which platforms to steer clear of and why they're not worth your time or money. Why choosing the right platform is crucial. Now, let me emphasize just how important it is to choose the right platform. Your e-commerce store isn't just a website. It's the backbone of your online business. It's where your customers will browse your products, make purchases, and form their first impressions of your brand. If your site is slow, looks unprofessional, or is difficult to navigate, you'll lose customers faster than you can imagine. Plus, with so many options out there, don't want to waste time and money on a platform that doesn't meet your needs. I've seen so many business owners get trapped in the wrong platform. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. It just doesn't work. So let's make sure that you are not one of them. Platform 1, Wix. All right, let's kick things off with Wix. Now, Wix is a name that you've probably heard a lot, and it's true. It's a popular choice for building basic websites. But when it comes to e-commerce, Wix falls short in a lot of ways. First off, while Wix's drag and drop interface is easy to use, it's not designed with e-commerce in mind. Sure, you can set up an online store, but the e-commerce features are pretty limited, especially if you're planning to scale your business. Let's talk about customization. Wix offers a decent range of templates, but they're not as flexible as you might need them to be. If you want to tweak something beyond the basics, you'll hit a wall pretty quickly. And here's another thing. Wix doesn't handle large product catalogs well. So if you have a lot of products, the back end can become cluttered and managing your inventory turns into a nightmare. Then there's the checkout process, which is crucial in e-commerce. With Wix, the checkout experience is pretty clunky, and that's a big problem because it can lead to cart abandonment. Imagine getting a customer all the way to the end, only for them to give up because the process is too frustrating. That's not good. Real world example, Wix's limitations. Let me give you a real world example. I know a business owner who started their store on Wix. At first, it was all smooth sailing. Setting up the site was easy, and they were excited to launch. But as their business grew and they added more and more products, they started running into problems. The site became slow, the design started to feel outdated, and customers were complaining about the checkout process. Wix is great if you're just looking to start a regular website for anything else, but it's just not the best for e-commerce, at least from my experience and what I've seen with others. Platform 2, BigCartel. Next up, let's talk about BigCartel. Now, BigCartel is often marketed as a great option for artists, makers, and small sellers who want a simple way to sell their products online. And to be fair, it does have its place. If you're only selling a few products and you don't need a lot of features, BigCartel can get the job done. But this is a big but. If you're looking to grow your business, BigCartel will hold you back. The platform is very limited in terms of features. You're stuck with basic themes that don't offer much in the way of customization. The payment options are also limited. You can only choose between PayPal and Stripe, which might not be ideal depending on where your customers are located. And forget about advanced e-commerce features like abandoned cart recovery, advanced analytics, or marketing integrations. They just aren't there. It's like trying to run a modern business with a tool from the ancient past. If you start on BigCartel, you'll outgrow it quickly, and you'll find yourself needing to switch to a more robust platform, which is a hassle that you really don't want. Why BigCartel falls short for growing businesses. So let me break it down a bit more for you. BigCartel is fine if you're selling a few art prints or handmade items as a side hustle, but if you're aiming to build a brand and scale your business, you'll hit a ceiling very quickly. For example, let's say you want to expand your product line, run promotions, or start a loyalty program. With BigCartel, you'll struggle to implement those strategies because the platform simply doesn't have the tools that you need. And here's another thing, SEO. BigCartel's SEO capabilities are very basic, which means your store might not rank as well in search engines. That's a huge disadvantage because, as we all know, getting organic traffic is key to driving sales. So if you're thinking long-term, BigCartel just isn't gonna cut it. Platform 3, WooCommerce. All right, now let's move on to WooCommerce. Now, this one is a bit controversial because WooCommerce is actually a very powerful platform if you know what you're doing. It's open source, which means it's highly customizable, and you can pretty much do anything with it if you have the technical skills. But here's the thing. For the average user, WooCommerce can be a total headache. First of all, WooCommerce is not a standalone platform. It's a plugin for WordPress. So that means that you'll need to set up and manage a WordPress site first, which can be overwhelming if you're not familiar with the platform. And then there's the issue of with plugins. WooCommerce itself is pretty bare bones, so you'll need to install a bunch of plugins to get all the features that you want: payment gateways, shipping calculators, inventory management, etc. But the more plugins you add, the more complicated your site becomes. Plugins can conflict with each other, leading to technical issues, security risks, and a lot of maintenance. Plus, if you're not careful, you could end up paying for a lot of premium plugins, which adds up quickly. And let's not forget about hosting. With WooCommerce, you're responsible for your own hosting, which means that you'll need to choose a reliable host, manage your server, and deal with any issues that come up. And for a lot of people, that's just too much to handle. The hidden costs and maintenance of WooCommerce. Here's something that a lot of people don't realize about WooCommerce. The costs can add up fast. Sure, WooCommerce itself is free, but once you start adding premium plugins, themes, and hosting, you could end up spending more than you would on a fully hosted e-commerce platform like Shopify. And then there's the time investment. WooCommerce requires a lot of maintenance. You'll need to keep your WordPress site and all your plugins updated, troubleshoot any issues that arise, and make sure that your site is secure. If you're not very tech savvy, you might find yourself constantly having to hire developers to fix things for you, which can be expensive and frustrating. So while WooCommerce offers a lot of flexibility, it's not the right choice for everyone, especially if you're looking for something that's easy to manage and doesn't require a lot of technical know-how. Platform 4, Volusion. Moving on to Volusion. Now, Volusion was once one of the biggest names in e-commerce, but in 2024, it's really starting to show its age. The user interface feels outdated, and the whole platform just doesn't have the modern features that you'd expect from a top-tier e-commerce solution. One of the biggest issues with Volusion is its clunky user experience. The dashboard, not intuitive, and it can be difficult to navigate, especially if you're new to e-commerce in general. This makes it hard to set up and manage your store efficiently. And when it comes to customization, Volusion is pretty limited. The templates look outdated, and there's not much you can do to make your store stand out without diving into the code. Another big downside is that Volusion doesn't have a lot of the advanced features that modern e-commerce platforms offer. For example, there's no built-in blogging platform, which is a huge disadvantage if you're trying to drive organic traffic through content marketing. And while Volusion does have some basic SEO tools, they're not nearly as powerful or easy to use as what you'll find on other platforms like Shopify or even Wix, which is on this list. Why Volusion is no longer competitive. Let's talk about pricing for a minute. Volusion's pricing is pretty steep, especially when you consider what you're getting, or rather what you're not getting. The basic plan starts at $35 per month, but that only gives you access to the most basic features. If you want to unlock advanced features, you'll need to upgrade to a more expensive plan. But even then, you're not getting the same level of functionality that you would with other platforms at a similar price point. And let's not forget about the lack of integrations. Volusion's app marketplace is pretty sparse, which means that you'll have a hard time finding the tools that you need to grow your business. In today's competitive e-commerce landscape, you need a platform that's flexible, modern, and packed with features. And unfortunately, Volusion just doesn't fit the bill anymore. Finally, let's talk about 3D Cart, which is now known as Shift4Shop. This platform has been around for a while, and it's gone through a few rebrands, but unfortunately, it still hasn't managed to keep up with the competition. One of the biggest issues with Shift4Shop is its user interface. It's complicated and not very user-friendly, which makes setting up and managing your store a real challenge. The templates are also pretty outdated, and there's not a lot of flexibility in terms of design. If you want to create a store that looks modern and unique, you're gonna have a tough time with Shift4Shop. Another problem is that the platform feels unfinished. There are a lot of features that seem half-baked, and the overall experience just isn't as smooth or polished as what you'll get from some other platforms. For example, the checkout process is clunky. There have been reports of technical issues that can cause headaches for store owners. And while Shift4Shop does offer some integrations, the selection is pretty limited compared to some other platforms out there. This means that you might have trouble finding the tools that you need to run your business effectively. The downside of Shift4Shop's business model. Here's something else to consider. Shift4Shop's business model. The platform is free to use if you process payments through Shift4, which might sound like a good deal at first, but there's a catch. You're essentially locked into using Shift4 as your payment processor, and the rates aren't always competitive. Plus, if you decide to use a different payment processor, you'll need to pay for a subscription plan, which can get expensive. And let's not forget about customer support. There have been complaints about long wait times and unhelpful responses, which is the last thing that you want when you're dealing dealing with a technical issue that's affecting your business. Overall, while Shift for Shop might seem like a good option on the surface, it has too many downsides to be a serious contender in 2024. So there you have it, the e-commerce platforms to avoid in 2024. I know it can be tempting to go with a platform that's popular or seems like a good deal, but trust me, choosing the wrong platform can cause a lot of headaches down the road. Whether it's limited features, outdated designs, or just lack of support, these platforms have a lot of pitfalls that can hold your business back. Remember, your e-commerce platform is the foundation of your online business. It's worth taking the time to choose one that'll help you succeed, not one that'll make things more difficult. While these are the e-commerce store builders that we do not recommend, we have a full list that we do recommend, and I'll leave links to all of those options down in the description below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the Ecom Mastery channel for more tips and reviews. Here on this channel, we make tons of videos on how to succeed at e-commerce, so be sure to subscribe. And we'd love to hear from you. Have you had any experience with these platforms, good or bad? Drop your comments down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you here in the next video.